welcome back. I'm Kristin.
I'm Ryan.
And we have 10 kids, if you didn't know already.
Yep.
And today is a special day. It is our 15th wedding anniversary. So we thought it would be the perfect day to say how we met and tell our love story.
How it all began.
Yeah. I met Ryan's aunt first at church. I had moved away to Nashville and then recently moved back and met her shortly afterwards at church. And we hit it off a little bit and ended up hanging out one day. And she's like, "Oh, you work with youth?" Because I was working with the youth ministry at that time at that church. My nephew works with youth. Also, you should meet him sometime. I'll have to introduce you. That was it. That was the only mention of Ryan. I don't think she even told me his name, or not to my recollection. But, crazy as it sounds, I really felt like that, just not like some audible voice or anything, just more like a feeling that God said, "You're gonna marry her nephew." So, hung out with her. I think she left at like 2 a.m. You know, girl chatting and all that stuff. And all I can think of in the back of my mind, though, is that she leaves. I burst into tears, and I'm like, "I don't want to get married, God. Like, you are sufficient for me. I don't want to get married." Obviously, no offense to him. I hadn't even met him. And flashback, I was boy crazy. I always had boyfriends. Just, my uncle used to joke with me that I changed boyfriends more than underwear. Not proud of that, just true story. So, but I had just gone to Mercy Multiplied. You can look it up if you wonder what that is, for an eating disorder. God had set me free from that. I was so satisfied, so happy in my life, and I thought, I don't need a man. But really, I just wanted to go 1 year of my life with, you know, I had really found my worth in God, and I didn't need my worth in a man anymore. And so I wanted to go a full year without dating and just, you know, have a good year of friendships and fun and freedom and all that, like freedom from the eating disorder and all that stuff, and not mess with that. So then probably 2 or 3 weeks later, I don't remember for sure the time frame, but after hanging out with his aunt, she introduced us one Sunday after church. What was your first impression of me?
Well, my first impression was, okay, she's pretty. And she likes youth, and I'm hanging out with youth, so I want to get to know her.
Cool. My first impression was, alright, he's cute and sweet. Like, I still don't want to get married, God, but yeah, he's cute. So we talked briefly, not long, and just, he was like, I work with Young Life, and I don't know if he probably told me he's a plumber, I don't really remember. And he was about to go to Young Life camp, like as an adult chaperone / counselor, and I was about to do the same with our church youth. So he said, how about after camp we can go have lunch after church one day and we can talk about camp. I was like, all right. So there was the first technical date, I guess you would call it, but I definitely wasn't taking it like a date because I wasn't dating. Established. So we both parted ways. He did his camp, I did mine, and sure enough, he came back on the pursuit once he was back and hit me up to see if we could have lunch after church, probably that very next Sunday.
Yep.
After camps. So we went to Applebee's, and I remember that I had shrimp skewers because they're really messy, and like it was almost like eating ribs, and That's how much I did not care. I was not trying to impress. I sat there and ate my messy shrimp skewers.
I thought it was impressive. That's the ironic thing about that.
So what do you remember about that?
I just remember all the conversations that we had, about our lives, where we came from, and like where you came from, and I just vividly remember thinking how amazing your relationship with Jesus was, and just how that was very attractive to me, because I felt like I really didn't quite have what you had at that time, and so it was very appealing to me, and I just was engulfed in our conversations that we were having about that, and so I was like on the edge of my seat, basically.
I remember having really great conversation, enjoying talking with you and listening to you, and I also remember telling you about having had an eating disorder, about going to Mercy, and how I was not dating for a year.
I definitely remember that.
So he's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then what happened was he pursued me for the entire year as a friend. He would call and say, hey, you want to go play pool? Because we both loved playing pool. So that was kind of our thing. It was like the next place we went together, and we would talk and talk and talk and shoot pool. And he almost always beat me. I think I'm pretty good. And for a girl, I don't know, maybe some girls are as baller as boys, I don't know, but he's way better, and he skunked me, I think, every single time.
Yeah, well, I played in a league in college, so I kind of had an advantage there. But
I played with like 6 kids all the time, but no leagues for me. But it was fun nonetheless. So we did that pretty often. And I would say, I don't even remember, but we probably hung out at least once a week, would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think we went out to eat some. We started going, there was this cool church thing in Houston, that was for 18 to 35 year olds. It was like a worship service, so we were young in that age range. Now we're not. Back then, and so we loved that. So we would drive up to Houston together, I think on Thursdays, and go to that. I think you started maybe helping with youth.
Yes, I did.
At our church too, like, because I worked for the youth minister, and then the youth minister ended up leaving, so I ended up kind of doing the youth sort of by myself for a little bit, and so he helped. Just in different avenues, we started hanging out more and more. We never, ever, ever discussed dating. We didn't hold hands, no smoochy, hanky-panky, nothing. We just were friends and hung out and had a great time together.
Yes.
So then that year marker came up where it had been a year of my no dating.
I was counting down, y'all. I knew exactly what
but I didn't know it was counting down. However, I wrote out this letter to Ryan in a journal, and it started with, if you're asking me to marry you and we've never dated, funny. And I go back and tell him, back to meeting his aunt, how I felt like God told me I was going to marry him, and I started to feel like that we were never going to date, like he was just going to straight ask me to marry him after the year. But I didn't know that for sure. I called my mom and I was like, hey, there's this guy named Ryan. I know this sounds crazy. We're just friends, but we've been friends for about a year. I'm pretty sure he's going to ask me to marry him. So I didn't want you to like just think this is crazy. So, be prepared. She's like, okay, cool. And pretty much trusted me with a guy that if I thought he was a good one, he was a good one. So then right after that year, he's like, so, hey, maybe we should talk about us sometime. I was like, okay. And so he's like, I don't know, we didn't do it right then and there, or it might have been right before the year. And he was, do you remember?
Yeah, it was right before the year.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah.
And so he was saying like after, but he was still gonna wait for after. So then right after that year mark, he came over. I was actually at that point living at his aunt's house because they had an extra room above their garage, and so just through friendship, you know, she had offered that as a place for me to live, and I was living there. So he came over, and what did you say?
Okay, so let me kind of tell y'all what was going on with me, because, you know, we hadn't officially dated, but I was really feeling like she was the girl that I was supposed to marry. And so I started to pray about it and ask God, I mean, is this, like, do you want me to marry this girl? And asking, and I just kept feeling like yes, and like he was like giving me the affirmation and the peace about it, like yes. And so I have to get the nerve up. Like, we hadn't talked about marriage, and so I'm like,
or even dating.
Yeah, or even dating. So like, I'm gonna go tell her kind of what's going on with me, and what's going on with me is I want to marry you. So I'm like, how in the world, like, what is going on in her head? I have no clue. So I mean, this could be like total like rejection, and like I'm facing all of this, you know, and thinking about what could happen. So I basically just came and told her, you know, we've been spending a lot of time together, and I really enjoy hanging out with you, but I'm not sure if the next step is really for us to date. I've kind of been like, God's been putting it on my heart that
I think you said I asked God
if
I could marry you.
I asked God if I could marry you. That's exactly how I worded it.
And I didn't give him any hint of anything. I go, and he said,
he said yes. Just like that.
So then poor Ryan, I'm like, just a second. And I take off running upstairs to my room and grab that journal, because I just want to give it to him in that moment, because, you know, I could just go write it later and make up this story. So I ran, grabbed this journal, bring it back down, and he reads, "If you're reading this, funny, because that means you've asked me to marry you, and we've never dated."
I was like...
Like, you were shocked, right?
I was totally shocked.
Like, you had no clue that I felt like God told me that.
No, none at all.
I didn't tell anyone that. I just wrote it in the journal. I think eventually I told his aunt that, but she didn't tell him or anything. She knew it was like top secret.
I was freaking out.
Yeah. So, pretty exciting start. I know it's a weird story and kind of crazy and cool and whatever. We had quite the reaction from our families. I think some people thought it was awesome and cool, and other people were like, it's kind of sketchy, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I understand that.
Right. I mean, outsider looking in, it's like, all right, y'all haven't even dated, and now you're getting married. Interesting. So, but like close friends who were there in our everyday life, they knew, like, right. It wasn't surprising to them, but a little more shocking to our parents and stuff. My parents, I've always kind of done things outside the box, so I don't think they really thought much of it. They didn't flinch. He called my dad right after that and never met him, asked him if he could marry me, and my dad's like, what did he say?
He said, any guy who's okay with my daughter is okay with me. Go ahead.
So he knew I was kind of picky at that point, especially with getting married. So he figured, you know, if I was good with it, he was good with it. So then we kind of wanted an official engagement, and like the, you know, somewhat for neither of us are fancy, but, you know, we wanted that fancy moment of like an actual proposal and stuff. So I did not help pick my ring. Oh, I wish I was wearing my ring right now. Okay, if you see me wearing this ring, let me explain. I will post a picture here of what I looked like when we got married. I was like that big. My ring finger when we got married was size 4 1/4, and that was my ring was a little bit big. Okay, so I think it's like a 4 3/4 or 5 now, but it really hurts to squeeze. Yeah, I've birthed a lot of babies, so I'm working on that. But I told him if if I can't still fit that ring on in like a few months, I'm just gonna resize it because I would like to be able to wear my ring. It's gorgeous. So, anyway, he totally picked my ring without me. Princess cut, really pretty. Surprised me. I knew we were gonna get engaged. I mean, he told me he was gonna take me on a date. He didn't say that he was proposing, but like it was pretty obvious. Like, we don't do fancy things. Like, we played pool in like t-shirts and jeans,
Right.
was more us. So he shows up in a limo. I put on a dress. I don't usually wear dresses, and we went out to like a really fancy dinner at Christopher's in College Station, which again, like, we're not really fancy people. Like, even now we're like, let's go to Torchy's Tacos for anniversary, but it was an awesome like fancy moment for non-fancy people.
Yeah.
So we did that, and so it was fun. Limo ride. I'd never ridden a limo. Had you?
No.
Okay, so
First time.
limo. So that was really fun. We ate there and then went to, what was that park?
Research Park, I think, in College Station.
Near A&M.
Yeah,
He
near
had
A&M
graduated
University.
from A&M, so he knew the area well. And
Yeah.
he proposed to me by a pond?
Yeah. by
Like,
the
basically by a pond. It was a pretty setting, and I wouldn't say either of us are super romantical. Is that even a word? Romantic. What did you say?
pond. No.
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, we made it as romantic as we could,
Yes, we
but
did.
we're just very practical.
Right,
And will you, he said something nice, and will you marry me? And I was like, yes, but it wasn't like, yes, and all these tears fall and hugs and kisses. It was more like, we were just like super excited, like huge smiles on our face. I remember calling a bazillion people to tell them we got engaged, and my face hurt from smiling like straight for like 2 days.
Exactly, yes.
So we were more just like, we're like that too when we birth a baby. I usually don't cry. I'm just like so happy. I can't quit smiling. So
Yeah, we can't go into it here, but I can't wait to tell you what she's like when she births the baby.
We'll get there another
Yeah.
day.
It's comical.
That's funny. So yeah, that's how we got together and got engaged. And then we originally were going to get married in October, but because we hadn't really dated, we eventually decided, let's take a year to like actually date as an engaged couple, continue getting to know each other better, get to know each other's families, because we hadn't done that really yet.
Yeah.
And then get married. So we got engaged, I guess on February 4th,
Yes.
2005, and then got married on February 4th, 2006. If you're not married yet and you're planning to get married, don't get married near Valentine's Day. It's too close together. You want those special holidays separate. Just a tip.
My cousin's about to get married in like this week, so
His cousin, sorry,
Yeah.
Zach and Caitlin, if you're watching this, they're going to get married on February 13th. It'll be sweet for like the first little bit, and then you'll be like, you'll have kids and stuff, and then you'll be like, oh man, why didn't we separate those out so we could have like a trip and a date and or whatever, separate times. But whatever, we still celebrate both days separately, even though they're 10 days apart. We get gifts for both days and try to do some kind of date or something for both. That doesn't always happen. But we try to still celebrate the 2 days, but
yep.
yeah. So, and then our wedding day was really fun. We had a small wedding. we debated back and forth, back and forth. We had a lot of friends and family, so part of us wanted this big ta-da and the whole princess ordeal. And then we both were actually just really laid back and didn't care to spend a ton of money on the wedding, and thought a sweet, intimate wedding would be sweet. So that's what we chose in the end. We had it at the Vineyard Church, which was like our precious church for like 14 years or so, till we recently moved away traveling and such. And so yeah, we got married, had a great wedding day, and we decided, we went to Houston for a couple nights, I think. We did. To celebrate, but we had decided it might be more fun to go on our honeymoon later. I don't know if I would redo it that way or not, but it gave us a chance to save money. We wanted to go to Paris, France.
Right.
And we thought it'd also be less awkward because, I mean, maybe not everybody's like that and thinks it awkward, but we hadn't lived together before we got married or anything like that. So we thought we could get the awkward moments of living together, like, you know, established, like, oh, you brush your teeth like that, wow, you know, or whatever. He was probably like, you brush your tongue, and like, wow, you know, all those weird moments, and then get this getaway. So we ended up going about, I think we went in June or something, so February, March, April, May, so probably about 4 months or so later, and I thought that was perfect. We had a blast.
Yeah, we had a great time.
So probably I would have done it that way again. It was really good. And then I got pregnant very shortly after that, so it was actually, we might have got pregnant on our honeymoon, actually. So that was really good. Has our relationship been perfect? No.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking both, but I'm just telling y'all.
No. It hasn't.
So this is pretty funny. We did like some premarital counseling before we got married.
Yep.
Just like really smart, man. She had us go through everything, like, you know, there's expectations in your head on who's going to do what chore and things like that. You don't really think about things like that. Like, you just, I assumed he was going to take out the trash and clean the garage, you know what I'm saying? But he might have assumed I was going to, and he might not have known that assumption. Thank goodness for premarital counseling. We like sorted out what we liked to do, what we didn't like to do, compromised, all that stuff ahead of time. So that was kind of nice. But also in premarital counseling, she had us initially fill out these questionnaires, if you will, totally separate from each other. We didn't look at each other's. It was like our background, how we grew up, how we think and feel about things, how we respond to conflict, all kinds of stuff. I mean, super long from what I remember. Wasn't it?
Yes,
like excruciatingly long. Yeah. But I actually love that kind of stuff. I don't know if you do.
I'm not so much.
I
would rather
that.
be like 3 questions.
I like analyzing, the full shebang. So we do this, and then she runs them through the system in a computer, and it like tells basically how compatible you are, and like maybe strength and weakness type areas and stuff. Guess what? She came back to us and was like, and this is someone we really trust. It wasn't just this like crazy counselor over here. This is someone I had gone to as a personal counselor for a while. Right. So someone that we still to this day love and trust. Yeah. And she's like, well, guys, so your results came back as a highly conflictual couple. And we just were like, what?
Yeah, and
we laughed. But at that point, like, we were so in love and we were in the love bubble. We were like, no, we're not like conflictual. Like, oh, we'll be fine,
Right.
And she wasn't telling us don't get married. I think she was just trying to prepare us.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, we needed that. We didn't recognize it in the moment. So has that panned out over time?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have had to work through a lot of conflict.
Yes, we're well aware of where our conflict spots, triggers and what not, and all that, where what starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that it definitely hasn't always been easy. I mean, I can remember duking it out. Just man, and even in the very early years, we just argue over the dumbest stuff. I mean, really, when people talk about arguing if the sky's blue or gray, like, that was us. I think we argued about everything, and I wasn't even really a big arguing person.
You were not.
Like, but we just did. It was like, everything just set both of us off. We had tons of great moments. We always have had a ton of fun together. That is one place we're very compatible. And we've even done these like strength and weakness things down the road for follow-up, and we have a good time together. We laugh hard. We like a lot of the same things to do for fun. We like a lot of the same foods. We never have a problem agreeing on fun.
Right.
Pretty much ever.
That's
like
true.
We easily have fun. So that has probably saved our marriage for the most part, is being able to laugh a lot and have fun together.
Right.
Which I do think is really important, but not the only important thing. No. So I would say the number one thing we've had to work on, and are still to this day, actually we are like hyper focused working on this right now, is not arguing, or just like, we can still disagree, but learning how to communicate those disagreements in a healthy way with each other, and to where we both feel like we worked through it, both feel validated, come to some sort of compromise, whatever it is in the end, and not have said a lot of damaging words, hurt each other, or just been one-sided and not validated each other, that type of thing. So we're pretty hyper-focused on, when I say hyper-focused, we have a very full life. We have 10 kids. We don't sit around thinking about our marriage all day long. I know I don't. We are busy people. But as far as their marriage goes, in any interaction, we're hyper-focused on being loving, kind, working through things, and realizing like, this is just a hard spot for us. I'm sure other people, a lot of other people have this. We've heard that. And really trying to work on that. We are definitely have not arrived. But I would definitely say the past little bit we have been actually working on that pretty well together. But it's a scary thing to say. You feel like you need to like knock on wood, or not say that, just in case things start going south immediately after. But you know what I'm saying, we're still in the process, work in progress.
Honestly, I think we're going to be in process till the end.
Oh, I know we will.
Yeah. It's just not easy, and
that's true.
All y'all who are married know that it's not easy. So
yeah,
it's just every chance you get, there's a choice to be made in every conflict, and one choice leads one way, the other choice leads another way. So it just depends on which way you're going to go, and that's kind of where I have really had to dial in and realize, what I want the most is a good relationship with Kristin. So, I'm trying my best to make the choice that's going to be to the way of resolution every time. So,
it's good.
Yeah.
So we thought we would say each what we thought our biggest weakness was, and then tip, like, I'm not gonna say what I think his biggest weakness is. Of course I have opinions on that, and he's not gonna say it. We're gonna do that, the opposite. But then I'm gonna say something that I really like about him and let him do that this way. So there's your good marital tip if you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. It is no secret within my family that probably my number one biggest downfall with Ryan and with the kids is my mouth. I just, I'm very passionate. I like to communicate my feelings, and I can do that in a hurtful way sometimes, where I just am trying to get someone to understand something, and then I say too much, go too far, say it too passionately where they feel like attacked. And so that is something I've been working on my whole marriage. I have been aware of it my whole marriage. I was aware of it as a child. Sorry, Mom and Dad. And it's been an ongoing thing my whole life that I've been working on. I wish I could say it's come to perfection. I know I'm a lot better than I used to be, but it is still something I'm working on to this day and have to consciously work on always. So that's my weakness and within this marriage. So,
and mine, I think, is stubbornness. I have this my way or the highway mentality and attitude, and where, you know, like, it could be something like really small, like if I'm doing something, like, I want to get it done right now, like, and put important things off. If a kid comes up to me and needs something from me, like, I'm inclined to kind of like, I gotta finish this. Or if Kristin comes to me and needs something, I'm like, I gotta finish this first, and like, and I'm pretty stubborn about that. So yeah, so over the years, I have seen how I've hurt all 10 kids and Kristin doing that, and so that is really something that I am like I just said earlier, like, I want to make the choice that's going to lead to the relationship, like having a good relationship, rather than like going out of the way, which has hurt my family. So that is something I'm really working on, and we'll probably keep working on that, just because I guess that's like just the way I grew up somehow. I don't even know where that came from, but I know I'm stubborn. So probably be working on that to the end.
That's good. As long as we're working on it, I guess that's good, huh?
Yeah.
So, and you know, we do both have mercy for each other. Not always in the moment, and that's hard, but you know, I'm fully aware that I'm not perfect. I think he's fully aware that he's not perfect, and so, you know, to have those expectations on each other would be completely unfair and unrealistic. So
yeah,
as long as we're both always working towards better, then I'm pretty happy. It's the second that either of us step back and like, I don't need to work on myself, I'm good, I got it together.
Right.
That's scary to me. So,
yeah, it's a little scary to me.
yeah. So anyway, and then so something I love about Ryan is he is like super, well, I thought about it ahead of time. I mean, there's several things I really love about him, but he is super duper adventurous, and I love adventure. I've always been a thrill seeker. I like things unique, different, out of the box, and he does too. So I met my match there. And, you know, I don't know if I'd be with another guy who was up for having 10 babies and adopting and RVing and living in an RV with our crazy big family around the United States, and just all kinds of stuff that we've done. It's really fun. So he is a heavy adventurer and always up. I don't think he's ever turned down one of my adventuring ideas. He's never thought, oh, that's crazy, or said that or he'll be like, that's crazy, let's do it. And then he's always full of crazy adventuring ideas. I have turned down quite a few of his, maybe too adventurous.
Yeah.
For me, but I don't think he's actually ever turned down any of mine, because that is just how adventurous he is.
I'm probably always going to say, all right, let's go for it.
Yeah, so I love that about him. He is an adventure. So.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I do love that about you as well. So I'm glad we have that in common. So, but probably the thing that I love about you the most is your ability to see right through to like what's true. I don't know how to say it. Like you have this ability to like see a situation like and see what's really happening, like the behind the scenes, like the feelings behind everything, the emotional thing that's going on. It's really unique, I think, from like my seeing other people. Like, I've never seen anybody who can really like get to the bottom of the emotional and what's going on in someone's, like what they're feeling, like Kristin can. So she's very good at that. So she can really, with me, with the kids, with everybody, she can really get to the heart of what we're feeling emotionally, and that really helps us be able to express what's going on and work through things. I've seen her do it a million times with the kids. I mean, I've had the kids come to me lots of times needing a problem worked out, and you know, I offer what I think's going on, my advice, but it's not. It just doesn't really help until they go talk to mom, and she can see exactly what's happening and what's going on. And I love that about you, because I really think that has created such a healthy environment for our kids and in this family, and for them to feel really valued. And so that, you know, you have that's the word, like you have an ability to really make people feel valued.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, a lot of words to blurt out that one. Sorry.
Hey, I did the same thing. It's hard to like express things. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, so here we are, 15 years. That's a big milestone. It actually feels like we've been married much longer to me. People always say the years fly by. And then they're like, whoa, I can't believe we've already been married 15 years. For me, I'm like, we have done so much in 15 years. How's it not more than 15 years? I mean, we have done so much together, and I barely remember life without Ryan. So
Yeah, same.
yeah. So happy 15th to us. Today is our big day. Hope that you all are doing well, that you're having a good week, or that it's gonna get better if it's not good yet, and that you know you're special and loved.
See y'all later.
Bye.